Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to our webinar today that is going to be all about some language and literacy development. My name is Takana Wells. I'm a second-year grad student at Grand Canyon University, and I'm here to present to you all an amazing presentation where we're going to cover any and everything from phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, and pragmatics. All right, so let's just get some basics out the way, some general housekeeping. You might want to, put your phone on mute, put it on vibrate, or what have you. The bathrooms are down the hall to the right, and, just excuse yourself as needed. All right. If you have any questions, we will save a small Q&A for at the end of the presentation, because I'm not going to hold you all long, but I definitely thank you for your time and thank you for showing up. All right, well, let's dive right on in. So once again, I'm Takana Wells, and I'm here to present to you I'll say first a little bit about me. I've been working in the education field now for about a little over 10 years. And honey, yes, I am still learning. I'm still learning about how to teach these young learners, how to be better equipped for them, and just all the things of gravitating to what's going to work best for them. Okay, and hopefully today's webinar can teach you some things about how you all can utilize some of these things within your classroom as well. All right, today I will present as much valuable and relatable and informative information as I can along the lines of, like I said, we're going to talk about language and literacy development. We want to understand the relationship between the two when it comes to reading and literacy. Because before we get into reading, we have to understand all the different foundations that come, that build up to that, which is understanding vocabulary, teaching our children how to learn words and grow their vocabulary, and understanding the sounds as they hear them, even as we just speak. And the sounds that we are teaching our children about are considered the phonemes. Okay, phonemes. Please forgive me if I pronounced it wrong, but it is PHONEMES. And what that is going to do is help the children. We're going to teach them how to hear the sounds as we speak. And through different techniques, literacy is really taught and understood by some actions such as decoding. Some people might refer to it as sounding words out, but decoding is more so making sure children understand the sound of the letter that is made within the words, okay? So we're going to do all this and relate it to literacy and the comprehension of order of words, understanding sentence structure, and most of all, syntax and punctuation. Okay, those are all important key things that we will go over. Today, we're going to discuss all of that through our conversations about the components of language. They're actually governed by 5 different basic rule systems. You have phonology, morphology, semantics, syntax, and pragmatics. All right, everything that we will discuss today, the resources will be available to you for you to use as some support to help you as we complete today's webinar. All right, phonology, let's talk about it. What is it? Phonology is going to be the component that's going to focus on, as I stated before, the sounds within the spoken language. The sounds heard that are used to create words. All right? For example, phonemes, forgive me. Those are the sounds that are going to be depicted of each word per letter almost. That is going to allow us to literally hear what is going on in the transformation of that word being created. So let's take the word kite and let's take the word bite. As they rhyme and sound alike, what makes their difference is the beginning sound that we hear of each of those words. Kite has a k for K, and bite has a B for B. As we're teaching our children, we're going to be that detailed so that they understand the difference in the components, all right? So the beginning sounds of the word is going to what's make the difference in what the meaning of that word is, even if the words again sound alike. Excuse me. Morphology. Morphology is the study of how we would say parts of the words create different meanings in a combination or standing alone. Let's say you take a word and you add a prefix or a suffix to it. That's going to do what? Change the meaning of the word. So to give you an example, let's take the word pen. Everyone knows we write with a pen and it's a utensil that we would write with, right? But if we add an S, it's still a utensil that we write with, but what changes the meaning is now it's a plural form of the word. That's just like the word cookie. If we have cookie, then we just have one. But if we add IES to make it plural, that means now we have multiple, more than one. So it's going to change the dynamic of how we would use that word. That's like, do you want a cookie or do you want some cookies? And those are the different ways that we're going to teach and make sure that children understand the differences when we are speaking of the different components of how we're teaching them the words. Now, then you have semantics. Semantics is really about the study of how words are used in context, okay? It emulates almost like a deconstruction of words and the sentence structure to determine the meaning of a word. For example, the word buckle. We know that that's an object, right? But depending on how we use it in a sentence, it may be used to mean to fasten, like buckle your seatbelt. It may be used to say buckle or bend. I mean, buckle may be used interchangeably to bend or break. You know, like if your ankles or your knees buckle, that means they're bending and you're falling. So let's move on to syntax. Syntax is another major part of just learning and understanding the written language. Okay, syntax, it serves as the like that one rule, okay? The rule of how we're going to write, the simple structuring and how we're going to structure a sentence, our words or phrases, because all those components, they will impact clarity and understanding. For example, if I use the sentence and say, I'm excited to participate in the play, so I arrived early. The way I'm going to write that is I'm going to make sure I use the correct punctuation so that someone reading it will know that there's a pause. And I'm going to make sure that I have a clear sentence structure that offers the right choice of words or phrase that's going to be followed up or added by the correct punctuation as well. Syntax, if we want to think about it in layman's terms, it's all about appropriate wording, sentence structure, and punctuation. So let's move on to our last component. That's pragmatics. Pragmatics. Oh, we cannot have language literacy without pragmatics. Pragmatics refers to how the speaker speaks and implies, as well as how the listener interprets. So that means, like just today, how I'm speaking to you. I'm speaking to you with clear diction so you can understand and hopefully receive what I'm trying to imply about the definitions of all the components of literacy that we have gone over today. Now, of course, for a child, you're going to break that down even more simpler so they can understand, because it's all about interpreting and understanding, yet structuring a dialogue, meaning a conversation. So, yes, a child will learn some of this naturally as they're around others with dialogue. So, a question that may pose to a child, "Good morning, how are you?" They know by just reference in the spoken language and being around it that they may respond to something to say, "I'm fine." It's not, they know it's not literal, but sometimes a child may take it literal and they may tell you just how they are. "Well, I'm sad today because my mommy didn't give me no whatever," but the reality is they're still learning that reference, okay, and how to use it based on the context of how it was asked or said to them. All right. Excuse me. So, as you will know, that there are a lot of similarities between semantics, syntax, but when that include pragmatics. But pragmatics is really going to hone in on the literal and the non-literal connotation of what is being said. Okay, so right now, I will open up. Does anyone have any questions in reference to anything or any of the topics that we discussed in reference to phonology, morphology, semantics, syntax, or pragmatics? Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, we're going to move right on because I want to wrap this up with you all and making sure that we understand why it's important as educators for us to understand the components of literacy. We want to make sure that, one, we can understand it so we can know how to adequately teach our children these different components. We want to make sure that we can create lesson plans that resonate with their learning, because with kids, we kind of got to meet them where they are, and that's okay. There are a lot of issues to consider, such as proper language development. As we know that they're the building blocks of language. We also want to make sure that our students, our families are supported, so we can support them. The better, the more we are equipped with the knowledge and resources, then we can support their journeys of learning. And as far as the families, we can help them find ways to support their children with learning these things as well. Repetition is definitely one of the key elements when you're teaching young learners that we're going to utilize when we are working on new tasks and new skill sets. All right. So as we move forward, we're going to make sure that literacy skills are taken seriously, because while we know that phonology has to do with decoding techniques, morphology, it has to do with supporting and understanding words formation. Semantics, we want to make sure that we understand that they are the pillars of comprehension of words and word meanings through context. And when it comes to syntax, that helps with understanding the children how to structure their sentences. And last but not least, of course, when it comes to the pragmatics, that is what's going to support their learning, the context and the use of the language when they begin to speak and read and write. So, let's take our ELL students, our English language learners. English is a new language for them, and it's going to be very important that they grasp these concepts and these components in order for them to be successful. If we're intentional with our lessons, we use differentiated learning and teaching techniques, it's going to provide great structure for them to learn these components. And I will have no doubt in my mind that these children will succeed despite their challenges. A true deep understanding of these components, it's going to lead to effective teaching strategies, better communication, and it's going to enhance their overall cognitive development skills. So that's why we want to make sure as educators we are equipped with the knowledge and skills to be able to transform these into great activities and learning journeys for them. Some developmentally appropriate practices that we definitely want to hone in on is to, one, always ensure that the instruction and the activities are age appropriate. You want to make sure that we're always encouraging with persistent efforts, even through their struggles. We're going to make sure that we give assistance when needed. Everything cannot be, okay, I said this or I showed them this and think that everything is independent. No, we cannot do that. But what we can do is give clear, guided directions. We can ask questions along their journey of the activities to make sure that we are making them think and giving them open-ended questions. And last but not least, we are going to always make sure that we demonstrate just how something should be done. All right? So once again, that concludes our webinar for today. I told you I wasn't going to keep you long, and I just hope that you just continue to grow in learning your craft as I am, and I would love to see you all again on the other side. Have a great day.